Welcome back everybody, and thank you very much for tuning in. Today we've got this 6.7 carat piece of rough opal. It's beautiful. It's got a very distinctive light green colour bar on top and a purpley blue colour bar underneath. There is a lot of sand, so I'm not too hopeful for a large gem, but we got to cut it to find out. So a quick coffee first, of course. Now we've got that, it's time to throw on the lucky hat and get across to the workshop. First things first is to start exploring the rough opal, taking out the sand from around the edges to see if there is a gem sat anywhere on the inside. You can see it's a very sandy piece. As I mentioned before, I have a big suspicion it's either not going to cut anything or something very small. Now, it's very normal for an opal cutter to lose about 80% of the total weight of the rough that they're cutting. If I get anywhere near a 20% yield, I'll be over the moon, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I've cleaned up a lot of sand around the edges now. As you can see, there's that purple bit and that light green bit, but there's still a lot of inclusions. I think it's worth me using a gem torch again to look on the inside to see if there's any clear spots. Having a peek here, you can see towards the top of the piece, there's just a plethora of inclusions. But down near the bottom, there's a small crystal structure that looks like it's unaffected. So I'm gonna hunt for that. So I'm taking away the bit with all the inclusions in. I'm going to focus on just the top, this bright green part. Taking out some of the inclusions in the top and obviously working on the sand around the sides as well. This is going to become very small, but I think I have a gem here. Now that we've done all the pre-shaping, you can see we're left with this little crystal gem. It still has a little bit of orange colour in the top, which definitely helps me out, but with it being so small, we're going to have to be very careful. Right, so we started this video with a 6.7 something carat rough opal. And I said that on average, you lose about 80% of the weight of the rough in order to cut a finished gem. My mental maths isn't great, so I'm just going to give it a quick calculation for you. 20% of 6.7 is 1.34 carats. Obviously, that's a really rough guide because every opal is different. As you saw, this one was full of sand, which I hate. This parcel of rough opal has been stuck at Royal Mail for approximately 3 weeks. It arrived yesterday, and this is the first stone I've cut from the parcel. And yeah, it's not going great, so we're gonna try and stay positive. We're still gonna end up with a finished gem. So I've got something going for me. The trouble is, it's gonna be a pointer, which means it starts with a decimal point, so it's gonna be 0 point something. It's gonna be very small. There are still some inclusions I need to take out. This is gonna get a lot smaller. So let's throw it onto a dop stick. We're only going to need a small one because the gem is small. I'm sitting here praying that the rest of the parcel turns out a lot better than that because, see, I'm being negative again. It will go better than that. In the coming weeks, you will see me cut some phenomenal gems from this parcel of opal. That's me trying to manifest, yeah? I'm trying my best. Dictate my own future, as they say. I'm just waffling now, to be honest. It is incredibly tough dopping up such a small stone, but we've been successful. Let's jump back across to the workshop. Let's polish up this pointer. Make your predictions down below in the comments of what you think the final weight is going to be. Just make sure it starts with a 0. That's all. Now that the opal is on a dop stick, it is much easier to control and much easier to shape. I need to be very, very gentle. Because the opal's so small, if I press hard, a large proportion of the stone gets taken away. So it's just about being steady, being patient, making sure all the imperfections are out and putting a nice dome over the top. I need to inspect it quickly just to make sure that enough of the inclusions are out before I add my final polish. Once I'm happy with it, I then obviously move on to the 600 grit wheel where I begin to add the pre-polish, so taking out any previous scratches and rounding off the dome nicely. One more quick inspection to make sure the scratches are out before we move over to the 3000 grit wheel and prepare for the cerium oxide blend at the end. So it's time to add that final polish and put that mirror shine on the opal. It's small, but it's beautiful. So here it is, still on the dop stick. You can see it's got nice colour play and nice colours. Once I've taken it off the dop stick and finished off the back, you can see here it's a small opal, but it's got nice colour play, a little bit of orange and green and blue. And that's that, folks. A 0.335 carat gem has been cut from a 6.7 carat piece of rough opal. Yeah, I get the sentiment and I do kind of agree. I was hoping for something just a little bit bigger, but we can't dictate rough opal, unfortunately. We were hoping for something closer to 1 carat, and we got something closer to 0 carats. So you can call it a loss, but it is a bit of a win because we still cut a gem from it nonetheless. Some of you with a keen eye might notice I still have some inclusions in the side of the opal. There is still a little bit of sand around the edges. And we've discussed this recently on a video about sand and how it doesn't actually belong in an opal, but when it's this small and it's obviously going to be set with a bezel, so it's got a wall around the side, it doesn't really matter that there's sand in it. It's not an expensive gem, so it's better just to keep it as big as possible and hide the inclusions with the setting. In terms of its characteristics, it's obviously a medium to low dome because of the size of the opal. It's a brightness of a 3. The colour play, the pattern is sort of floral with a bit of broad flash. Rolling flash across the top. It has a little bit of orangish, reddish colour in there, and it's a crystal opal. So it's got some positive characteristics. It's just too small for them to really mean much, which leads me on to the point of valuation. Brightness of 3, orangey red, crystal opal, 0.3 carats. I'd probably price it at somewhere around the £100 mark, maybe a little bit less. And I have a future project in mind where I'm going to make a bunch of silver rings in various sizes. That means people can have good opal at an affordable price, and I think this opal is going to form part of that project in the future. So it's not going to be available for sale unless somebody desperately wants it. Just let me know, drop me an email or drop me a comment. If not, I'm going to put it aside and save it for my future project. It is the parcel of opal. It wasn't cheap. I'm not going to tell you the number, but it wasn't cheap. It's been stuck for a few weeks, like I said, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more pieces of rough, and they all look a little bit like that. There should be some more promising cutters in there, at least I can hope. So stick along for the ride, because who knows how that goes. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Remember to like the video and comment. Let me know your thoughts down below. Quick side note, I appreciate the feedback on last week's video with the release of my first custom jewellery piece, my first custom pendant. Everyone's words were incredibly kind and supportive, so thank you very much for that. It really does mean a lot. It took a lot of work and effort to get that produced. Although I didn't make it myself, I'm proud to say it's one of our first high-end products. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe for weekly opal content, and as always, I'll catch you in a week's time. Thanks, guys.